Confident One, Conshizzy podcast, season 2, episode 2, and we have an incredibly amazing guest in the building. She's a sophisticated, badass radio host and TV host. She's cut from a different textile. Wanjira is in the building.
Welcome. See you quoting me. I see you quoting me. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
How you doing? I love your drip.
I'm dope. Popping. It's like we coordinated.
So our energies are matching.
Yeah, basically.
All right. Welcome to Conshizzy podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We're about inspiring confidence with bold, brave, and disruptive conversations. So I'm hoping we can have one.
Absolutely. I know you're gonna lay it on me. Let me know what time it is.
I'm down for you. 150%.
Trying to get all the scoop on Wanjira's mind.
All right, Wanjira. Let me take you back to an year that's familiar to you and rings a bell. Mm-hmm. 2014, you bought a one-way ticket to Africa, to Nairobi, Kenya, from Manhattan. What inspired the confidence to move to Nairobi without a plan, without any idea?
So, I'm not a fastidious planner a lot of times. First of all, I'll start there. I think that a lot of blessings are born out of, I wouldn't say spontaneity per se. I'm a calculated risk taker, but it's good to take risks essentially. Because if you don't, you've automatically failed. Let's just start there.
Yeah.
So a lot of people had been teasing me, family and friends, because I kept talking about how I wanted to move to Kenya.
So it was a topic of discussion, like keeps popping up.
It had been a topic of discussion for 5 years at that point in 2014. And so it was a big back and forth. And how it all started is because annually I would go to Slovakia to see my grandmother when I was a kid. So I would go to Kenya kind of sporadically. The first time I came was 94, thereafter it was 2000, and then it was 2009. And by the time I came in that 09, Kenya had really changed. You know, I've seen her in
the infrastructure,
everything, the economy, the vibe as well. It was just different. And I was inspired by all the international business that I also saw. And it just looked like, okay, this is a place that's really on the map. You know what I'm saying? And I thought that's so cool. I got a taste of, the creative industry here. And I thought,
super vibrant space. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And like everything was just growing.
Yeah.
And that's a very exciting thing for a young person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I said, I could live here in 09. And everyone was like, relax.
Yeah.
All right. You're not even done with uni. Just calm down.
Okay.
Right? So I finished uni. Before I did come back in 2011. I was still in uni. But then that 2011 really solidified. I was like, me and Nairobi are going to get to know each other. I'm moving to the city.
Yes.
So I finished school and I did my internships and I went to, after I got my degree, I got a certification from a journalism school in broadcasting. So I did radio and television, was submerged in a program there for it was about a year or so. And, graduated from that. And then I said, hell, I gotta make this leap. It's now or never. You know what I mean? And because I was working at WWE at the time, I was...
wrestling?
Yes.
All right, that's dope.
Yes.
I mean, that's dope.
Yeah, I was working there, and I was very worried that because I was working as an intern at the time, and my boss loved me. I was in the marketing department. She kept telling me, you should apply for the job. You gotta apply for the job. They're really seeking to hire. A lot of people don't know this, but WWE actually has a film component to their, they're everywhere. So they'll put their big stars like The Rock,
Stone Cold, I remember.
Yes,
up, yeah.
and they would plug them into films, okay? So they have their own film agency. And so I worked in the film agency, and she was like, you really should apply to this, whether it's New York or LA, or actually they're based in Connecticut, Stamford, Connecticut, excuse me. She's like, whether it's Connecticut or LA, you're definitely going to get a job. I used to run into Stephanie McMahon in the bathroom all the time.
All right.
She was really nice. So everybody was really pleasant, but I didn't want to work there because I knew that there was a whole Nairobi, Kenya out there.
Emerging, vibrant city.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I remember being extraordinarily nervous going to my boss because I was like, she's going to think I'm an idiot, the dark continent, once in Africa. But I just told her one day, I have to resign. and I really want to go halfway across the world. And she was like, Kenya?
Where's that in the map? Where's Kenya?
She knew, she loved it. She was so encouraging, so inspiring of confidence. It was really beautiful. I was so lucky. So she wrote me a fabulous cover letter that I could take with my CV to present to people when I got here to look for work. And, you know, I bought the one-way ticket and was on my merry way. I kind of didn't like tell anybody about the ticket.
That was in April 2014.
That I arrived, yes. It was such a cheap ticket. I think the ticket was like $200 or something stupid. I got it like through.
That's like 20K, kind of shilling.
Yeah, it was like something dumb, like $250, something like that. I had to fly, I'll never forget this, from New York to Amsterdam.
Connecting to Nairobi.
No, I'm not done, please.
Dubai.
It's better than that.
Okay.
It's better than that. So in Amsterdam, they start telling me that I might need a visa to get into my next connection. Where is it? India.
India, okay. Okay.
It was a very cheap ticket, so it meant that it was going to be a lot of hours. I was exhausted.
Yeah.
I flew to Bombay, and then from Bombay, I came all the way back to fly now finally into my final destination, Nairobi. And wow, it was a time. It was a time, but it was, you know, it was good. And everybody laughed at me and they said, you're going to be back in the next few months. You're going to hate it. You don't have what it takes. This is my own family, by the way. Hi, family. You know,
shout out. I know you're watching.
Shout out to my fam who tuned in right now. Yeah. Everybody was like, she just likes sherehe there. She likes boys, whatever. And I was like, hello, do people think that I'm like, that I have like no foresight, you know, like it's something that I actually am very gifted with. I was like, no, this place is cool. This place can do the thing. And yeah, I was told that no one would relate to me in what I wanted to do because I didn't speak Swahili like that. Actually, I really didn't speak a lick then, especially. And my look and all these kinds of things is she won't be taken seriously. She won't be understood. She won't be this. She won't be that. Okay. And here we are 8 years later.
And you're never going back.
Would you look at that?
And you're killing it right now.
Hey.
I mean, I listened to you on radio. I've been listening to you for a minute.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think you're doing a great job on air and off air too.
I appreciate it, love. Thank you.
Being born and raised in Manhattan, and there's a way you viewed Africa. But now, since you're in Africa right now, how do you view Africa since you're living in Africa compared to how you viewed Africa when you're in New York City?
I mean, if you know my mother, you know that there is no way that I could view Africa badly. First of all, let's start there. So obviously, I mean, and also having been coming here since I was very young and in touch with my roots here as well in one way or another, I had reverence, you know, for the continent and for my roots and my heritage and Kenya and all this and that. But it's definitely different when you're living in a place.
Yes.
You know, I think travel in general really opens up your third eye. Like,
you see the bigger picture.
Definitely. Yeah. I've always been a traveler, as I said, since I was a kid, right? And I always loved different cultures, you know, whether the food and the way people spoke and, you know, language, customs. I'm very, very, clothing. I'm very, very curious by all those things. So that is something that I really enjoy, I think, learning about every time because Africa in general is so diverse. We offer so much. I mean, in Kenya alone, there is, you know, there are so many ethnic groups, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think I really enjoy all that jazz, if you will. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it also, you know, and we had talked about this before, but there's a way that as an American in general, and I always, the joke is...
You live in a bubble.
Yes. The running joke is when you're a New Yorker is that you say, I'm not from America, I'm from New York.
You identify with your city.
Yes, and you identify with like your region, something like that. So like for us, like we're always like, we're from New York. We're not from America. Okay. And there's something a little bit myopic about the American point of view. I mean, it's just true. Everyone talks about it. Everybody says it. And it's a fact. And while I still had a very worldly way of thinking and what have you, I mean, even news, this is a great example. Like, even news I watched differently. You know, it's very interesting to see how CNN, as professional as they think, professional as they think they are, you know, a hotbed of terrorism. You know what I mean? Like,
disease. I mean, all diseases.
It's just really crazy, and I think you become so much more. Your level of awareness is crazy heightened when you are living outside of the States, and outside of the West, really, because you really realize the portrayal that
big disservice,
in a huge disservice, and it's both conscious and subconscious. I don't think that they even know that they're doing it. You know, when they had to apologize for that ludicrous statement, I think that they were kind of like, oh, I guess, yeah, that is bad. You know what I mean? But I don't think that they even saw it. So it's things like that. You become very, that level of awareness is just shoots through the roof.
I mean, I know they're watching right now and listening, and they should visit Nairobi, Kenya, and come live here.
Yeah, at the hotbed of terrorism. Go away.
All right, Wanjira. I mean, I know you're huge on self-care, and I want to find out how you put a check and balance on self-care. How do you ensure you don't break the bank for your self-care? How do you do that?
So self-care means different things to everyone, and for me, the first things I thought about are self-care, therapy, downtime, alone time, a good night's rest, my skincare routine.
Your teeth routine. Like,
yes.
People don't wash their teeth.
Yeah.
You need to wash your teeth.
Why are you calling out them people? Yes, there are some people who need to take care of their hygiene. But hygiene is self-care. It's going shopping and getting yourself a nice outfit. It's taking a trip. And so, you know, there has to be balance to do all those things. My beautiful parents taught me a very, very valuable lesson, and that is, do not live above your means.
Okay.
So I just don't. If you're making 200 shillings a day, you can't start spending 201.
It's crazy.
It just doesn't work like that.
It's not practical.
So you have to be able to say no to some things and not suffer from FOMO.
Okay. I mean, I feel like that's the best advice to inspire confidence. Don't live beyond your means.
It will get scurry. It will get scurry if you do.
You don't have to go to the gym. You can jog. You can take walks.
That's true. There are so many. In fact, and you know, there's the University of YouTube. Everybody is using the internet.
Yeah,
right?
So true.
So it's like you can train yourself online if you really can't afford it. I mean, if Julius Yego, could teach himself how to throw a javelin
on YouTube.
Okay. Ciao. And he's an Olympian now.
Yeah. For
exactly that. Hey, anything's possible.
Online. Get online. Don't break the bank.
No excuses.
All right, Wanjira. I mean, that brings me to another discussion. I know you're a huge champion of this, mental health. Because this business, being a creative, a lot of pressure. It's crazy.
Yes.
You need to keep up. You look, which car you drive, or you stay. It's crazy. And I'm wondering, how do you deal with your dark side when you feel like your mental health is taking a toll on you?
I think that it's incredibly important to decompress. And some of the ways in which I do that are hanging out with my phenomenal friends who keep me in check and who also...
You didn't bring them?
I didn't bring them. I never bring them for stuff. Maybe I should have brought them for this.
Yeah,
I feel like they know my story already, though. They'd be like, Wanjira, shut up. No, I'm just kidding. They're really supportive and amazing. They wouldn't say that. But like, I feel like that's one type of therapy. There's therapy, which I think is fantastic and I'm a huge advocate of. So that helps, doing that once a week. There is, just taking time in things that you enjoy, watching a series, reading a good book. You know what I mean? Those are all ways in which you can take care of your mental health. I think one of the things about mental health, and it's a big discussion right now, is we need to talk about it.
We need to raise more awareness.
We need to talk about it and stop acting like it's not that people aren't depressed out of their mind or suffering from social anxiety or, struggling with schizophrenia or any other thing.
Disorders, anxiety, panic attacks.
Right.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I feel maybe the discussion should be how can you figure out the best way to deal with the dark side? Like myself, I mean, let me just talk about myself. I feel like
why do I feel like you would write?
I mean, I would write.
Do you write?
I used to write. I mean, I do, but legal writing maybe. I used to do also some articles back in campus, but I won't say I've done so much.
Okay.
I don't have a book out yet.
Okay. No, but just for yourself, journaling is also a form of a way for people to deal.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel also for me personally, also having conversations with people close to you.
Yeah.
Like myself, I have a lot of conversations with my partner. We talk about our dark sides.
Right.
We call out the bullshit on each other.
Right.
Yeah, and I feel that's also...
but those are two different conversations, sir.
Yeah, that's how also partly I deal with my dark side. Because someone will call you out and she'll tell you, I mean, that's some BS.
Yeah.
And you do the same. In a very... Coming from a very nice place.
Right.
A very genuine place.
Right.
Shout out to her. She's watching, She's
right
here.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey.
Hey. Yeah, so I feel maybe the discussion should be how best can you identify what can work for you when it comes to dealing with the dark side.
So that's a really, really fantastic point. And I say so because, for example, like people will tell me to journal. I'm like, I don't want to journal. Yeah. Like that's not going to be my thing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But actually gymming, like working out is a really great way I find to deal with my stress, my dark side, anything I'm going through, because you're very focused on a goal.
Yeah.
Whether it's burpees or running on the treadmill, et cetera, and you're therefore distracted. Like nothing else really matters except for the tasks at hand.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And then it's also a beautiful competition because it's you and yourself. You know,
true,
I mean, unless you're working out with, I guess, a lot of people or something. But with me, it's just
but you're focusing on yourself.
Do you get me? Yeah. At the end of the day, even if I guess you're a group, it's still what can I do? Like that's my mentality.
All right, great.
So I really love that as well.
All right. I know,
but get therapy. Get therapy.
Therapy.
Get therapy. People need therapy.
People need therapy. If you're watching right now, get therapy. And therapy doesn't mean you go to
therapy sponsored by One Giro Long. Sorry. Yes.
I was. Therapy doesn't mean you go to an expert. It can be even to your friends. You can have discussions with them, your family.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I also feel like still it's still seen as, you see, those are all seen as fine things to do, but going to a professional is also very okay.
Okay.
It's very okay. So that's why I always tell people, sometimes your friends and your family aren't enough, and they can mean really well, but like they're not always going to be able to get you through depression.
So true, yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes you need
an expert.
You need an expert, and maybe you need medication, and maybe you need this, that, or the other. Yeah. If you can go to the doctor and have no problem talking about diabetes, I don't know why there would be any issue discussing another part of your body that's an incredibly important organ.
I agree.
100%. If you don't have a sound mind, it's not gonna work out. Let me tell you. Even if you're the most gorgeous thing in the room, it's not gonna work.
Absolutely. I want to talk about a topic that's gun violence in the U.S. Having been born and raised in Manhattan, and we've been seeing school shootings. Were being killed on the streets. The latest case that caught the attention of the world, George Floyd. So how now you're living in Africa right now and seeing what's going on in the US. How do you view that, and how do we change the structure of the human mind to bring a stop to this? Because I spoke to someone, a friend of mine who lives in the US, and they didn't see anything wrong with the gun violence going on there. It's like a way of life. You guys have kind of quote unquote accepted that way of life, but once you're outside the
I don't
States,
think people accepted that way of life. There are many people who have a big problem with it.
Okay.
Your friend respectfully sounds a little crazy.
Okay. But maybe I can put it this way. They don't see it being a big conversation.
It's a huge conversation in the US.
But how we view it outside the US, it's not the same way you guys view it, who living in the US. But right now, as you're in Nairobi right now, but how do you see that whole
I think the
phenomenon?
only difference is everyone is talking about the U.S. and how there is no gun control. Let's
Yes.
just put it that way. It's ridiculous. Americans themselves are
Yeah.
Americans themselves are saying that it's ridiculous. Kenyans, whomever, and Europeans, Africans, Asians. I mean, everyone's saying that the U.S. looks like a spectacle,
Yeah.
and it looks and is
Yeah.
it looks this way because it is violent.
Yeah, exactly.
And America has a very violent history.
Yeah,
America was founded on violence.
exactly. And you thrive on violence.
Yes.
Yeah. So how do we change the structure of the human mind? Because I feel like we can have laws, the best laws in the world, but if you don't change the structure of the human mind,
I think it's an attitude shift. Also it's a really interesting situation because you have archaic laws put in place
Yeah.
that need to be updated. Having guns in the wild, wild west in 1900 and 1800 and 1700, of course that made sense. But my God, I mean, what the heck does anybody need a gun for?
By the way.
In 2023.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. So I think what we're looking at right now is an old versus new mentality.
Mentality.
That's really just what's happening. There are people who are like, no, we love our guns and they're in the Constitution. Like,
Yeah.
bruh, they're in the Constitution because the Constitution was written in 1776.
Yeah.
300 odd years later, I'm pretty sure we can update it.
I mean, I mean, I feel also the conversation should be, apart from even putting the gun laws, but everyone is just saying, I have a gun because I want self-defense. I want to defend myself. What is this?
If no one has a gun, then you'll find that won't be your struggle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that also, because you mentioned George Floyd, and that's not gun violence.
Yeah.
That's racism, and
Racism,
that's
exactly.
another that's another topic.
That's another conversation
But
altogether.
I think all that that racism also very much ties in to the gun law perspective.
Yeah.
Because, how I started the conversation was really that America was built on violence. And that violence was perpetuated against brown and black people.
Okay.
And I think that it's all, again, it's an old versus new. So it's like a power struggle. It's a thing.
It's a back and forth.
It's a back and forth, and it's a look. Because
Okay.
I think it's also very important to look at the people who are advocating for things to stay the way they are. And I think you should have a good look at the people who are advocating for reform.
I know they're watching and listening. Yeah. This is the Confident One Conshizzy podcast. I'm going to take a short break. We'll be back with Wanjira. This is the Confident One Conshizzy podcast. I have an amazing guest in the building, the one and only Wanjira.
Woo woo.
WanLuv.
Hey.
Yeah. So, Wanjira, I want to find out your sentiments about cancel culture.
Okay.
Right now, the internet is huge. Social media is huge.
Ooh, he got me there.
What do you think about cancel culture? What are your sentiments about that? And
Cancel culture is really interesting.
okay,
I think it has its benefits.
I would love to hear the benefits.
R. Kelly, cancel that ass.
Okay.
He is awful.
Yeah, he was awful, yeah.
Sucks. He was a predator, and he's disgusting. Cancel him.
Yeah.
All for that. I think that cancel culture, like anything with human beings, can also get a little dangerous because I think it can have a very, it can just have like a herd mentality. So I think I just sometimes wonder, like, who being canceled now and why? You know what I'm saying? And for what? And it can just be, it can become a bullying thing sometimes.
Cyberbullying, by the way. Yeah.
Yes, because it mostly, I would say cancel culture definitely, it mostly takes place
media.
online. Yeah, true,
right.
true, yeah.
I mean, have you been cancelled before? Since you've been on air for so many years.
That's
TV,
really fun.
radio.
No, I mean, I'm not really out of pocket like that.
Okay. I think it's recreational outrage, in my view. I don't know.
It's what?
Recreational outrage. I mean, just these guys are just keyboard warriors. You just sit down sometimes and
I just think that it's just so important to have critical thought. And I think also what I worry about with cancel culture, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of room for conversation.
oh yeah,
Because
it blocks that.
if you tell me,
Cancel Conshizzy.
yes,
Yeah.
or, and, you know, and then I say, but, you know, Conshizzy is this, I mean, but why? And I start, now it's side eye.
Right, yeah.
Now it's like, oh, you not, so you for him.
Yeah.
And it's like, can we, you know, there has to be discourse. There has to be
conversation.
intelligent thought that goes, you know, into things. You know, because I think that's important. But I think cancel culture has also been extremely important in some ways because the patriarchy can be a hell of a thing. You know, and you work in human rights. You know the deal. There are just some really, you know, human beings can also, you know, we're animals. We can be absolutely fabulous.
We have dark sides,
Yes, but we can also be extremely dangerous, disgusting.
And evil.
Yes, evil, scary. You know, heaven and hell is not, you know, in skies or, you know, in grounds. It's here on earth. It's in us.
Yeah.
So there are people who've done really despicable things and then they're called out for it. And then they get there was an actor, I forget his name, because I never really cared for him, but he was a big Hollywood actor, granted.
Okay.
And you know, he was getting crazy deals. Oh, Army Hammer or something like that was
Okay.
his name. And you know, he was getting crazy deals. He apparently came from a loaded family. I didn't know that. He came from an extremely rich family of, you know, of means, high society, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And he was getting crazy roles next to immense stars, and he became a star himself. Turned out, like, your boy was telling women that he wants to cut them up and cannibalize them, and
some
all
crazy
these,
shit.
like, really crazy shit, like weird stuff. It was weird. Fantasized about I don't know what with their bodies and tried, I think, like, did some really weird BDSM stuff with them. Marilyn Manson, I grew up loving him as an artist. Turns out that he's extremely abusive, and like, you know, I mean, a bunch of people aren't going to be lying about you if everyone's like this. We've all had a similar experience.
Yeah, so true.
And
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So there can be benefits of that, but I just think that there needs to be deeper thought, and it can't be that we demonize somebody because immediately and you know, without thinking, you know, because of
have a
a
conversation
different thought.
about it.
I just think that's
I mean, if you're
necessary.
watching and listening, just don't jump on the bandwagon. Find out why.
Yes,
Find the
and if
why.
you hate something or someone, that's your prerogative. But just make sure you're not doing it. I love that you said that. Make sure you're doing it on your own accord, that you actually would be able to defend your answer in court.
Exactly. I see what you did there. All right, Wanjira, I want to find out, has success changed the things you care about since you've been extremely successful? I mean, you've been on radio for almost a decade now. And not just in a radio station, it's a big radio station.
That's true, yeah.
Has it changed the things you care about?
I think, yeah, I guess to an extent, but there were things I always cared about. But I think being in the industry also really makes me like hold on to my loved ones and makes me really grateful because there just can be a lot of fakeness, a lot of weirdness. I really incredibly value my relationships, whatever they may be. I really, really value them.
Yeah.
I don't play with minds.
Okay.
I don't play with minds. So that's something that's super important to me. And I think that, you know, when I'm pulling my hair out, and because, you know, on social media and on TV and on air and on a red carpet, nobody knows my problems. And at the end of the day, nobody cares. I'm here to entertain. I'm having a horrible day.
But you need to look
my
the
cat's
part.
sick at home.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, no one gives a damn. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's on you. I'm here to put a smile on your face and make you feel like you're having a great day and a great time. That's what I'm paid to do. And that's fine. I acknowledge that. But, that I go through my own things as a human being, right? Personal, professional, all kinds of stuff. And so that I have people that I can turn to when I feel like nothing, because you're not always going to be filled with confidence 24/7.
I mean, that would be, I don't know. It's
which is why we have this podcast, right?
Exactly.
This is why we have the Conshizzy podcast, because you have to,
confidence,
because it's about inspiring and instilling it and reminding yourself of the different ways to get it back, because sometimes you feel like you're on the ground.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So to have people in my life, near and far, whom I adore and who adore me back, I mean, that is priceless.
I mean, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. What can't you live without?
What can't I live without?
Yeah. What can, I mean, you're like, yeah, I can't live without this. What's that one thing you can't live without?
God, there's so many. My list is so
You
long.
can just list three.
Three. I
list,
can't.
yeah.
I can't live without music.
Music. You love music?
It's actually, it was a running joke to one of my friends.
Yeah.
That like he would be like, "Why do you literally like collapse if I'm like having a hang with even just one friend and we're catching up? Like music can't stop in the background. It's like really weird. I also tend to have music playing throughout the day, like a lot of days. Like
What are you listening to right now?
I was just listening to the new SZA album.
Okay.
Yeah, I was. I peeped the new Matata album.
Oh, yeah, they're dope. They're killing
Yeah,
it,
yeah, and the new Boutros, in part because those two artists were on my show this week, but also because I really love their music.
All right.
Actually, I was very excited to go to a Matata concert today, but because they're so in demand now, they had to change the date and the venue to a bigger place. So that's now happening apparently on the 30th of this month.
Okay.
So, because they're dynamite. I mean, the energy that they bring to a stage.
Yeah.
Boutros is like so effortlessly cool. It's like kind of scary. So yeah, I love music.
Yeah.
I love music. Yes, I was listening to the African Ambassador as well this week, and that was super duper dope. So yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that I'm listening to right now. I love Jules.
Mm-hmm.
Jules, the producer, is epic. Such a cool guy as well. Super dope guy. We had an epic interview and. Yeah, we're cool. So like, yeah, I love music and I love so many different kinds of music.
All right. I mean, that's dope. So you can't live without music. What else?
I
You live without?
I can't live without music. I can't live without animals. I love animals.
Okay.
Like I'm a really.
You have a pet?
I have two. I'm a cat mom.
Yeah.
Duchess and Berlioz. On
Okay.
Mother's Day, I want you to tell me Happy Mother's Day, period. That's it. But it's funny. People are always like, you're a cat lady, you're a cat lady. And I'm like, yeah, okay, sawa. But like, I'm an everything lady. Like I would have a whole dang zoo if I could. It's just that I have no place to put them in my apartment.
Yeah. Okay.
But I would have cows and goats and dogs and horses and this and that, monkeys. Like I just love animals.
All right.
So that's another thing I can't live without. What's another thing I can't live without?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm not saying my friends or my family. Like, I love you guys, and you know that. And I just gave a heartfelt speech about y'all. So, next. I can't live without, like, pasta of some sort.
By the way, you just ate pasta.
That's OD funny. Of course, food is going to end up on this list. Ta-da!
Yeah, okay.
But, yeah, I can't live without pasta, whether it's like Asian noodle stuff or which I was chefing up last night, some Korean, it was mad good. Or or it's like, an Italian pasta or a French pasta. I need pasta.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I reside.
Pasta any day.
Pasta.
All right. So music, pasta, and what else?
Animals.
Animals, yeah. All right.
Those are my three.
Shout out to your pets.
Shout out to Dutchie and Burley. Yo, you guys are international babies.
I mean, Wanjira, you are undisputed. Your voice is to be reckoned with. And,
Thank you.
Yeah, you've been huge on the voiceover scene. Do it also as an MC, do corporate gigs all over. And I want to, because I'm also an MC and I do gigs in the same space.
You have a crazy voice, yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, but nowadays I feel like you guys gas me up.
Nah, it's commandeering. Like, when you first called me, I was like, who is this? Your voice is insane, yeah.
Yeah, so how has that been for you?
I
Show
love it.
business. Show business. Yeah.
I thought you meant the voiceover stuff in particular.
Yeah,
I love
the
voiceover stuff.
voiceover and the emceeing.
Yeah. I love voiceover things. I've been doing it for so long. Actually, there was a company in India that loved using my voice for a while. And now I'm on Super Sema as Miss Diana Glorious.
Okay.
So Super Sema is an animated film about this little girl and her brother and the adventures that they get on. And so I play the announcer, who's kind of like a bit of somewhere between the announcer and the narrator.
Can we watch it?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes,
Okay.
you can find it on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. All right. Make sure you follow Wanjira.
Yeah,
Check out the
super
content.
Sema. So you can catch me there as Miss Diana Glorious.
Okay.
So so I really love voiceover work, whether it's acting or announcing. I find it so much fun. I find it really, really fun. I also, yes, am an MC.
You're bad as MC.
Yes, you're FemC. But
Yeah.
I love it because it's live. I have a lot of fun doing live shows. You know, my start really was in theater. That was heavily my background as a kid, well into adulthood. So I've just, there's something about that raw energy between you and an audience that I think is really...
It's unmatched. You can't get that.
It's unmatched.
Yeah, priceless.
Yeah, it's a different kind of high. It's really dope. Yeah.
And what's the biggest hurdle in the business for you? Voiceover, MC.
Actually, it's acting. I love acting so much, but I don't do enough of it. But I also realized, I was thinking to myself, I probably have to be more aggressive and put myself out there.
Okay.
I can't really put that on the industry.
Right,
I think
true.
it's, you know, sometimes you have to, you know, knock on the door yourself and you know, or bust it down, whatever it takes. But yeah, I would say that I don't do enough of, and I would love to do more of.
Yeah, and the biggest challenge in the business that you can maybe put a finger on and say this is the biggest hurdle in the emceeing and voiceover space.
In all of it, I mean, it's haters, I guess.
Haters,
I think
yeah.
haters are your biggest.
Some
people don't like it.
Sound good.
No one ever played themselves like that a day in their life. But I will say that you know, sometimes your confidence and your good vibe and your energy,
You gotta speak volumes, yeah.
sometimes other people are annoyed by it, maybe because they feel like they are lacking in it. And that's just a real thing, you know.
Yeah.
That's a real thing. When you out there building thy confidence, just remember that there's someone else who's gonna try and knock it down. But
Yeah.
no
They will try to
weapons,
pull you down.
no weapons formed against me shall prosper.
Facts 100. I want to find out about your amazing parents.
Oh,
Your mom is amazing. She's
yes.
a writer. Good stuff. And your dad also. So talk to us about your parents, because I know you talk about them a lot.
I do.
Yeah.
I do really love my parents. They're just such dynamic, interesting people. My mom is a writer. Her name is Waidira Budia. That's also the name that she goes with under writing. Well, it's Waidira Budia Protano, but usually in writing you'll see Waidira Budia. So she is an author, a published author. She's got some new projects coming out. I'm extremely excited for her. She is also a public speaker. She is now a retired teacher and professor of English. So really, really unique, fascinating, interesting lady, because she can school you in English, but then she'll write for days in Kikuyu.
Okay.
So it's quite interesting. Yeah. So everything from Kwani to Mutiri to her own World Series book that sold out. It was called My Sister's Wedding. Well, I don't know why I'm talking about the book like it's dead. It's still out there. It's just hard to buy.
Go check it out.
Yeah. As My Sister's Wedding, A Story of Kenya. It explains one of the ways in which the Agikoyo marry, and it's kind of loosely based on her experience watching her older sister get married. And it's a really beautiful book. It came with a cassette and a doll, and the doll was modeled after my sister. And then then what else? She's been published in Essence. She's, been on CNN. I mean, she's done a lot of things.
She's amazing.
She's freaking amazing.
Yeah.
She's really amazing.
I mean, big up to mom. I know she'll be watching.
She watches everything.
All right.
She's a stalker.
All right.
I love you, stalker.
But all parents are stalkers. I mean,
My mom is a hardcore stalker. She's a really
She's extreme.
She's like look up the definition of stalker,
Yeah.
and you're not gonna find words. You're just gonna see her sweet face there.
Yeah, and we had a conversation, and you mentioned both your parents are very liberal in thought and principle. Has that inspired you and impacted
Definitely.
on you?
Yes, absolutely. Mom is an artist. Dad is an artist as well. My biological father, the Slovak, he is a filmmaker. A now retired filmmaker. Animation was his specialty, which was so cool because, I think that's why I'm so in love with animation, even as an adult. I'm one of those adults who loves Rick and Morty and, F is for Family and all these kinds of shows, Archer. But it was really cool as a kid to watch his animations, really beautiful stories, and I would just be so mesmerized by them. Then in addition, my stepfather, who technically is not a creative by profession. He's a lawyer.
Okay.
A judge, pardon me.
Okay.
He was a lawyer for many years, obviously, before he became a judge, but he's been a judge for long now.
Okay.
And he deals with human rights cases. But still has a very, very creative bend to him. And you see it in his thought process. You see it in his love of music and his understanding of it, particularly jazz. Okay. You see it in the kitchen, the way he cooks and chefs up, because that's an art in and of itself too. And in his presentation of food and all these kinds of things. And he's Italian American, so that kind of makes sense. I feel like they always have something kind of creative to them,
by the
way. Right? Given their history and their culture and what have you. And so they all were just really... I guess also I wouldn't really be here if they weren't open-minded. Mm-hmm. If you think about how a Kenyan and a Slovak came together and had a kid a while ago. Yeah. So definitely. They were just always really, it was just, as long as you're not hurting anyone, or hurting yourself, do you. You know what I'm saying? They're very do you mentality.
Okay.
Do you, boo-boo? Yeah. It's a lot of that.
All right.
Yeah.
Shouts going out to them. If you're watching right now and you're a parent, just let your kid do what they love.
Yeah. Yeah, as long as, and as weird and crazy as your kid wants to be, because I was a very strange child in some ways. I did all kinds of things that would just have them she's different, but they let me be me. They let me rock out.
and look at you right now. You turn great. You turn great.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate
it. You have barely scratched the surface, and I know you've done a lot. You've been on radio for almost a decade, but I feel like you still have a lot to do right now in the business, in the industry. So we were talking about the future of traditional radio and TV.
Yes,
and we agreed it's on its deathbed.
It's on its last legs. Yeah.
So what's the next move for you? On this digital space, not being on traditional radio and TV?
I think, because let me tell you, this man really, really studies the people coming on his show. I was like, Conshizzy, please. He was about to dig up my social security number. I was getting nervous.
I'm doing better than your mom.
I thought that you were going to whip out baby photos of me for a second there. I was like, how he notice? Yes. So, you had... what was it that you had mentioned before when we were talking about traditional media? You were like, my YouTube videos, which I was like, how did you find those YouTube videos? I thought they were so buried.
The internet never forgets.
The internet never forgets. So I think it's really important to pursue different avenues. I do have every intention of pursuing different avenues. I've noticed that I need to pick up on my content again. I used to be a prolific poster, and it somewhere actually in that shift for me came in the pandemic.
Okay.
During the pandemic, I stopped posting as much, and then it kind of carried on. But there's really no excuse now. It's 2+ years. It's time. To go crazy. And so I've picked up the pace, and I'm enjoying that. So I think there's a lot that you can do with social media.
A lot,
and a lot of other different avenues, whether it's YouTube or podcasts and so on and so forth. So I want to play around, explore, and see exactly where I'll land.
And you're huge on, I remember you mentioned you like people who consider their own ideas.
Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So you should do that.
Of course. Yes.
Execute.
And I'm so creative. I always have a million interesting thoughts going through this head of mine.
Yeah, we need to see more content up and running.
Okay, I promise. That's a challenge. For you, Conshizzy. For you.
All right.
For you.
That's great.
You've inspired confidence in me to do it.
That's what you're doing right now. I want to find out what do you think about how the industry set up. The industry, the show business in Kenya. Right now, if you want to get into the show business, the creative space, you'll be told, no, go be a doctor, go be a lawyer, go be a teacher.
Yeah, there are people.
People will discourage you.
Okay, yeah.
Venture into this space. What can you tell someone who's listening and watching right now, if you have this urge to be part of this business, just go and do it?
I think go and do it, but like also you have to really understand that the hustle is sold separately.
Yeah.
Moreover, it's
the dream is free.
Yeah.
But the hustle is sold separately.
That part.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that and you know, just being sure, you know, I got some great advice in LA from an actor that I really, really rate. And who I had been watching since I was a kid.
Mind giving out the name? Mention the name?
On one, I don't want to mention the name.
Okay.
But actually, I may as well. His name is he was on Saturday Night Live. His name, why am I just forgetting his name right now? I know the last name is Nealon.
Okay.
Hold on, I'm going to my so Kevin Nealon.
Okay.
So Kevin Nealon is this fantastic comedian, and you know, we were talking one time, and I remember he said, you know, look, you know, he had me meet him at a place where he was going to do a little stand up.
Okay.
And before he went on to do the thing, you know, we were chatting with a friend of his, and, you know, he would ask me a lot of questions about what exactly it was that I was after and all this. And he said, you see this bar here? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, I started working here when I moved here in the 70s. I think he's originally from Canada. And he was like, you know, this is where I would still be.
Yeah.
And doing stand-up comedy if I didn't make it.
Wow, okay.
Like, you know, now he's really comfortable and he's done a trillion things and been in a million movies and he's on a series on NBC and da-da-da. But, you know, I'll never forget those words.
Okay.
They were so jarring in a way because I realized, like, you know, not everybody gets to be a big, shiny star. You know what I'm saying? You do it because you love it. And I can honestly say there's nothing else for me that I would do if it you know, it comes with its pitfalls just like anything else. It can be rewarding, but it's not always rewarding. I watch a lot of people in this
space.
It's
a cutthroat business.
It is, and I watch a lot of people in this space where I realize this person is working overtime. And not everyone knows this person, you know what I'm saying? Or their Instagram isn't popping or whatever, but God bless them because you can tell they love it.
Exactly.
And they're really
passion.
doing it. They have the passion for it. And I just know that there's nothing else that they want to do. So I think that's the thing with the industry. You really, it goes back to Kevin Nealon's words. You really have to want it.
Okay. You must be passionate about it.
Because it's not guaranteed that you're going to make big money. In fact, you know, in the Kenyan industry, most of people aren't making big money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
true.
You're not getting millions of dollars here, which is why you'll find a lot of us doing many different things. Yeah. You know, you're not just, I mean, you know, so it's very, very interesting. So you have to love it. Like, I love going on radio and hanging out with my listener and listening to great music and chatting and interacting. And like, I really enjoy that. I love being on stage. Stage is like passion, home for me. You know what I mean? Like, you need to have that. You need to really want it.
Passion first, and you're good. And confidence too. You
yes,
be confident about your talent.
Yeah. It's true. Because there are a lot of talented people who don't have the confidence. And there are a lot of averagely talented people who have the
confidence.
All right. So
you can beat them.
So, you know what you need to do. You better get that confidence.
Yeah, we're doing that right now. It's all about inspiring confidence with bold, brave, and disruptive conversations. I want to know your sentiments about, how can I put it? You see how people, redundancy in the media industry right now. Mm-hmm. We were talking about it with you before we got on set.
Yeah.
And I told you, some of these guys, you've been on radio for 10, on TV 15 years, a decade plus. But one day they send you an email and tell you, we don't need you anymore. And so it's crazy.
It's a rough world out there, for real. Yeah.
It's rough. So what do you think should be, what's your advice for someone who has been on traditional media and TV, radio and TV, but they feel they're in a comfort zone, and one day they wake up and they're told, we don't need you anymore.
I mean, and I told you this before.
Yeah.
There is always a chance to to renovate your image, and you can start over again anytime you want. I mean, you've seen those stories of people who start school at Sijui 85 or 90 or something like that,
And they graduate. It's crazy, yeah.
So you can do anything you want, really. I don't think that, we're seeing a lot of layoffs, and traditional media is on its knees somehow. So you've got to be innovative and whatnot. But also, if you already have a following, you're
convert that into make it commercial.
Right, because you're already ahead of the game, because a lot of people are always trying to get a following.
It's crazy to get a following, by
it's
the way.
very, very difficult, and so it's interesting. It's something to think about.
All right. Okay. If you're listening and watching, take some lessons. I told you Wanjira has been on radio for almost a decade.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
The more you say it, the more I'm like.
So make sure you check it out. Check her page on Instagram, on Twitter, Facebook. Get to know what she's about. But she's badass, like I said.
At WanLuv, WanLuv on Instagram.
Sophisticated badass.
That's right. Speaking that swag Healy on Twitter, it's at Wanjira L. It's the birthmark tweeting.
Yeah, get with the program. So Wanjira,
Yes.
what's your biggest fear?
Heights.
You afraid of heights?
I hate heights. Like, I don't know how that started. I never had it. But now I hate it. I'm so scared. Like, I do not. I'm even getting clammy just thinking about it. Like, it's heights.
Heights.
But then I'm also really weird because, like, I skydived. And that was amazing. Then I also did, like, what is it? Paragliding, I think it's called. So, like, where you have, like, you're, like, on that, you're, like, on a thing, like, sitting, and then, like, you're doing this. And that was friggin' epic. I did that in Turkey. Wow, that view. Eesh, it was gorgeous. And the weather, I loved it.
Istanbul.
Not in Istanbul, but yes, it was in Turkey.
All right. So
Yeah, in a place called Muğla.
So your greatest fear is heights. But if you did that, that's not your fear. I mean,
No, I also do things to overcome fear. So
okay.
yeah, I tried.
Okay.
I loved both experiences. I would definitely do the paragliding one again. Paragliding was sick. I loved paragliding. That was dope. Yeah.
All right.
Jumping, the skydiving's a little scary. I don't know. I don't know how I did it.
I have never done skydiving.
I don't know how I did it. Because like now I was like, I really want to try bungee jumping. And then I was like, no, I feel like I'm going to be way too scared. Because you do that by yourself too. It's not like you have, like in the other situations, you have a tandem. You have somebody that you're doing it with. It's a tandem jump. But in that bungee jumping, it's just you, them ropes, and God. I don't know if I can handle all that.
It's crazy shit.
It's crazy shit.
Yeah. So what do you miss most about not being famous?
I don't know. I never really even think of something like that because I feel like being famous in Kenya is not like being famous in Tanzania or Uganda or SA.
What's the difference?
People are chill. I feel like people are really chill. Like your Kenyan celebrities can like walk on the street and it's not like
that's her.
Yeah, and they'll be like, that's cool. And then like, I mean, it's not like you're gonna have your clothes torn off your body. You know, I think it's like it gets really surreal sometimes when I'm doing something. Like I'm shopping, food shopping, and someone comes up to me and is like, I love your work. I just wanted to let you know that. I'm like, what?
Well, I mean, just let me shop in peace.
No. I love it. I'm so grateful.
Okay.
I mean, I certainly don't hate it or wish to let me shop. I mean, they'll just say something polite like that. Like, you know, a lady just comes up to you and says something so lovely. And I'm like, damn, thank you. Like, okay, people, you know, also it's like a reminder, like, wow, people actually really listen. I could have a down day and I get an email or an inbox. Yeah. And it's somebody telling me how much I inspire them and how much they love my work. And I'm like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like, people actually really pay attention, you know, like listen to you and all that. It's just
you're just having fun and people pay attention. You inspire people.
It's really interesting. I always say that I'm quite I have a pretty charmed life because I don't take for granted this. I don't take for granted that I'm constantly getting patted on the back for my work, and not everybody who is doing a fantastic job out there, like your star janitor, is not being patted on the back for his or her work. You know, the person who's cleaning the toilets is not getting patted on the back for their work. The person who's an accountant is not being celebrated for crunching those numbers so darn well. You know what I mean? So there's something that's really, that's really nice about that. Those reminders are just, they mean a lot.
Okay. I want to ask you a very, very interesting question. What do you think about money?
Money is wonderful. It's so great. Because
it's great. Yeah. What do you think about money?
It's great. As Trevor Noah once artfully wrote, you know, money gives you choices. You know, that's what human beings want. You want the choice of different healthcare. You want the choice of, do I want to stay at the 3-star, the 4-star, or the 5-star hotel? Do I want the house, you know, that faces east or west? You know what I'm saying? So money is great. Money is not everything.
So you definitely won't do some things for money.
No.
Yeah. I mean, that's dope.
Yeah.
I also feel like money is the appropriate response.
Money is the appropriate response?
Yes.
Ooh, elaborate.
Because if you need to, I don't know, buy something and you don't have money, you're not going to get it.
Right.
Yeah. So I feel like in my view of money is the appropriate response. Yeah. But I mean, like you say, we can't, what do you say? What did you say about money? You said you can't, it's not everything.
No.
It's not everything.
Yeah, it's not everything.
All right. So there's something I do called personality sentiments.
Okay.
So I mention a name, someone you worked with, you know them,
okay.
and talk about them.
Okay.
As we wrap up. So I'm going to start with someone you worked with on TV, on a show, the sports show, Central. You know, Top Central?
Sports Central. Keep it, Sports Central.
Yeah. Mike Mondo.
Yes,
what do you think about him? His work ethic?
Very hardworking guy.
Okay.
Very hardworking guy. Incredibly kind to me on that set. Incredible energy. Complete sweetheart. He was definitely, he was my work hubby.
Okay.
He was my work hubby. Yeah,
okay.
No, very, very nice guy. I have a lot of time for Mike.
All right.
Yeah.
Next personality, she's been on radio.
Also has a very commanding voice.
Yeah, he's
like you. Like he's got a great voice. Yeah.
All right. We say I don't sound like them. They sound like me. We agreed.
I think I'm dead. I don't even think you guys sound alike, but you just both have like a deep, commanding voice where it's like you're going to listen to what you guys say. You guys would make good announcers as well in a stadium.
Thank you so much.
Why aren't you guys in Qatar? That's what I want to know.
I mean, maybe, I don't know why they didn't hit me up.
We'll have to talk to those Qataris. We'll have to talk to them.
All right. If you're watching Qataris, you still can hit me up. The World Cup is not over yet. Do you watch football?
Facts. Yeah, I love football.
Why are you supporting this World Cup?
Okay, Morocco, because at the end of the day, they are...
Everyone is supporting Morocco, but Morocco, they don't give a shit about Africans.
I know that, which is what... So that's why... Damn, Conshizzy, let me finish. No, but you're right.
Just being honest,
no, it's true. It's true. It's... And the guy who scored the goal looked black. I was like, you guys really forget your roots. Anyway, yeah, you know, at the end of the day, the headlines are going to read, Africa won the World Cup if they do this. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's going to read Africa. Whether they know they're African or in Africa is on them.
Stuck with us.
They are African and in Africa. So I'm obviously rooting for them. My dream is for the final to look like France versus Morocco. I would simply pee my panties. That would be crazy. I think that would be a game, for the ages.
Let's see how that goes. Prediction from Wanjira, France, Morocco.
Oh, but if Morocco happens to get eliminated, and I hope they don't, but if they do, I'm voting for the other African team, which of course is France.
France, yeah. All right, cool. Next personality, Ses Mtungi. I mean, she's a radio queen.
Yes, she is. and she's Mike's co-host now.
And you worked with her too.
I mean, we were both at Capitol together, but I don't think we've ever done anything together per se. You will never be bored when Ses is around.
She's a big energy.
Big personality. Big personality. And a very, very funny and witty lady.
All right.
Yeah.
She was going out to Ses. I mean, I listened to her. And I think she's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's killing it.
She's an undeniable talent. I mean, she's really a living legend. You can definitely say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Last but not least, your former boss, the late Chris Kirubi.
I loved CK.
Okay, yeah, DJ CK.
That was just about to say, you're listening to The Fuse with Wanjira Longhour and Dr. DJ CK.
CK is in the doubles.
Eesh, yeah. And people always used to ask me, is he really in there from 10 to 2 with you, like DJing?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, he is. CK was amazing. CK gave me my break.
Okay.
He was a complete visionary.
Yeah.
Total visionary.
Goes without saying.
Yeah. A very interesting man. I mean, so layered. It's like an onion. You peel, there's another you peel, there's another you peel. But I loved how he thought.
His thought process.
When it came to business,
What's the last? What
No
can
one
you
could touch
remember?
him.
What he told you? One word that he said, and you still remember. Or
he
some
said
advice, maybe.
many things. He was just such an interesting character.
Yeah.
I love that he gave young people a chance. I can't think of like right now something off head that was like so deep or inspiring right now. But
yeah.
he was inspiring in his being, in his
Aura.
in his belief of you. And he was proud of me, you know, and that was a good feeling. So I really, my hat off to him always. I was really heartbroken when he passed away.
All right. May his soul rest in peace.
And power.
Good guy.
Yeah. He was a
Yeah.
really, really, he was so colorful. He was fun too.
All right.
You never remembered his age. It was weird. You never remembered his age.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Big up to CK.
Yeah.
His legacy lives on.
Oh, for sure.
All right. Thank you so much, Wanjira. Your confidence speaks volumes.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for
And
having me,
You're breaking the
Conshizzy.
glass ceiling. Keep doing that.
Yes.
On air, off air. Yeah, and we're going to be watching your content and following you. So where can we find you on the socials?
Yes, so you can find me at Wanjira L on Twitter. I'm quite active there. I'm also very active on Instagram. So those are the two I'll give you for now. Those are the ones where, and then anyway, I will lead you somewhere else. So Instagram at WanLuv, WanLuv. Yeah.
Make sure you follow.
Make sure you
Press
follow
the
and let's
follow
have
button.
fun. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming. We had fun.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. This was dope.
Yeah, we just inspire confidence.
I love it.
Yeah. You're welcome again.
All right.
Keep inspiring confidence.
God bless. Thank you so much, darling.
This is the Confident One, Conshizzy Podcast with Wanjira.